the South Bay Market and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just the professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com. Serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas.
Live from the 93.7 The Ticket studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Inside the Huddle with Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Black Shirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
What up? Happy Sunday. Jay Foreman inside the huddle, along with my man Harrison here on the ones and twos. We are brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. 7601 Pioneers Boulevard will take care of all your imaging needs and set forth a game plan for you to alleviate any pain or physical issues that you have going forward. So it's good to be back in studio, 1040 O Street, the Mecca of sports radio here in the state of Nebraska, located here in the capital city of Lincoln. But I think, Harrison, I don't really keep up with it always changes, right? So college football is always changing. But I know this is they have some official visits this weekend. And I don't know if this is the last weekend or if they have one more. I mean, heck, I woke up today thinking today was Monday. You know, when I texted you yesterday, I was discombobulated because I was out of town. You know, you kind of get just thrown off or whatever. Was down, with basketball, and usually basketball is Saturday and Sunday, but it was actually a Friday, Saturday thing. So it kind of got my days mixed up. But it's official visit this weekend. I know they have some guys that have already committed, and then they have some guys potentially that they are recruiting, obviously in the future. The funny thing is, I was talking to a friend of mine that was actually my neighbor, and he was like asking me about when I was on the official visit, what it was like when I got recruited. I mean, and this isn't, I guess I'm going to talk about myself, but it's not about me, and it's not, get on off, old guy on the lawn. But I think it's cool sometimes just to go back and just look at the difference. And, we're just talking to Jeff, and I was, and we're talking about the difference of the expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's like, oh, would you be bitter? No, dude, I want them to be successful. I mean, reap the benefits. I can't get anything. I'm not getting any NIL, but I should. I'm just playing.
Yeah, you missed the
1890. You want me to sell the? You want me to sell the? You want to sell the program? Send a dude knows it. I know the ins and outs of the program. Trust me, I can increase that NIL. Trust me, I do it. I'm willing to, and I'll take a percentage of what I raise too. Not just playing. But he literally was interested in what it was like. I'll just go on official visits when I went to different places, because I guess it is a little bit different. I went to Miami. I went to Wyoming. I went to Miami, so-called unofficial, but it was official. My dad and uncles had went there, so it was, so I didn't. And then my official visits were obviously here, Iowa.
Oh man,
hold on, here, Iowa, Wyoming, and Wisconsin. Those are my 4 officials, and I had one more lined up. I forget what I was gonna go to Kansas State, and probably I could have got the bag if I went to Kansas State.
Could you?
Oh yeah, I was scared though. I was scared to take the money.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to talk about that first. So Kansas State was horrible. And one of my best friends in high school, who's actually a great, great chef. So if you're up in Minneapolis, look up Mr. Don Saunders. He was we played basketball together, played football. We played all the sports together. And his dad was a K-State alum. And, K-State was not, even though my recruitment to big time schools started late, K-State was not there, but they were there in the beginning, K-State and Missouri. And I didn't like Missouri because of their uniforms. This is how dumb I was. And I was like, okay.
They're not great uniforms, but
Back then they looked like hot garbage, and plus you were not good. I mean, I think the only good guy came out of, I think it was like Lynn Dickey, who was a quarterback for the Packers. And the only reason because I know is because he was in every Tops package that you would get. That's how you know he wasn't a very good player. And I was like, well, you went to Missouri. That's how dumb I was as a kid, just very small-minded. Well, anyways, Kansas State was recruiting, and they went to JUCO route and signed like 18 of the 20-some guys through the JUCOs. And I'll never forget, they were, Coach or, Mr. Saunders came up and he was like, hey, would you be interested? I was like, yeah, why not? I felt like it's not too far. I was trying to be close to home if I didn't go to Miami. And that Miami was going on probation. And my dad I know he couldn't afford to see me play much.
mm-hmm.
Because then, he wasn't going to move down there. And I just felt like, I know I could play there eventually. I just felt like I wouldn't have got a fair shot till a little bit later. And I was a big deal for my dad to see me play. And plus, I was homesick or would have been homesick. And Kansas State, man, the dude, and I'd worked 3 summers and during the school year to buy a car.
What was the car?
It was a Chevy Celebrity.
Oh, what's the year?
It was a hoopty. It was brown. I used to call it Brown Baby, man. Listen, that thing used to run like a charm. Listen, it never missed back and forth. Now, by the time I got rid of it, I'm sure those tires were bald because I don't think I ever got new tires. I mean, so I saved up for it, and my dad pitched in a little bit, and he more or less. But then I saved up money, and I mean, he wanted me to earn everything, so I worked, and then I had to pay some for my AAU stuff and all that. So I had it, and so Mr. Saunders was like, man, you probably bought that car a little bit too impulsive. Like, bro, I've been having my eye on this for a while. I put a deposit down. You know what I mean? So I had it like on quote unquote layaway. Well, anyways, it came down, and my recruitment started to really skyrocket, right? Minnesota didn't really recruit me, and then by the time they came, it was too late. And Michigan State was recruiting me. I really wanted to go to Michigan State. Nick Saban was the head coach. My dad was like, East Lansing is not for you. He, you know what I mean? And he's like, Nick Saban won't be there 4 or 5 years. And back then, that was a big selling point. They wanted to know what coach was going to be there. Northwestern was. I was thinking about really taking an official visit to Northwestern. To be honest, I liked it. Yeah, but that was. I like the uniforms, the black uniforms. They went to the Rose Bowl that year. Yeah. That was an easy sell.
Yeah, man. You got the right unis.
Listen, I would have went to Oregon. I get 10 uniforms. I'm there. So, anyways, the funny thing about Coach Barnett, before I get back to Kansas State, was he was there and he was like, "I really want you to come on a visit. You come in and." They had Bates. He ended up being drafted. He's like, you could play receiver, running back, or safety. You know what I mean? And he asked me, I said, man, listen, how am I going to get in? Now, I took the ACT one time. And I got like a 24, and I was done. And, my grade point average was like probably B. I was a strong B. I wasn't very good. I was a good student. I wasn't like, 4.0 or nothing.
You weren't going all in the classroom. Not yet.
You know what?
24 on the ACT, you could definitely get A's if you want to. I don't know what your high school.
It was all based on effort.
Yeah,
because I had a stern talking to was like, listen, you better step it up big time, right? So I did because I wanted to go to school. So I asked the coach. I said, how are you gonna get me in? Because I'm thinking Northwestern's like Stanford. First of all, I didn't like school. I didn't love school. And he's like, we'll get him in. We'll get you in. He looked at my dad. He's like, don't worry, we'll get. He's like, I'm serious. He's like, we'll get you in. He's like, he's got the credentials to get in. He'll be in. He'll be on scholarship. Trust me, he'll get in. We got the tutors and everything. My dad was like, yeah, you get him in, right? But how you gonna keep him in? How you gonna keep him eligible, right? You know what I'm saying? My dad knew the limitations of his son. So right then, plus, the funny thing is after that in-home visit, Coach Osborne came next. He called my dad the next day. He's like, hey, let's just be honest. T.O. came in afterwards. Do we even got a chance? My dad was like, man, Jaden really likes you, but don't waste your time. And that's being honest. Now, back to Kansas State, man. They came. It wasn't Mr. Saunders. I ain't going to tell you who did it, but he came to me and was like, what's it going to take? Right?
Yeah, he's looking for a number.
And I was like, hey, I just, here's what you want to know my answer was? I was like, well, I was like, I want to graduate. You're like, my dad had me tuned up. And I wasn't thinking about much. I was just naive to the whole thing. I said, I want to graduate. I want to, I felt like I needed to get faster because I've never ran track or anything. And I was like, I want to make sure you guys got a good weight program and speed. And, I want to, be able to I want you to look at me something other than a running back. I was a good running back. I was everybody recruited me as a running back. But I saw Lawrence Phillips run, and I was like, I would have played running back at Kansas State, but, being a 6'3" running back wasn't, probably ideal. But I knew I could play. But I'd never played defense before. So they were, talking to me about that. And then, they went and said, yeah, we got all that. Don't worry about that. This is what we do. They start talking to all the different people, access and, track team, you can work, all that stuff. But they said, what's it going to take? And I was like, that's it for me. Right?
Still not picking up.
I wasn't picking up nothing. And my dad wasn't there. See, my dad was there. And he's like, well, I guess we got a lot to talk about or whatever. You know what I mean? And about 2 weeks later, and I was, so our basketball practice, couple times we practiced early, then we practiced late, depending on when the game was or whatever. So I'd ran home to, get some clothes because we had to take a, bus ride or whatever. Knock on the door. I'm like, who's coming? Right? Dude has literally a brown paper bag. Harrison, when I looked at that money, I'd never seen that much money. I ain't never seen more than $100. I'd never seen that much money. I think it was like 10 to 15 grand.
Did you panic right there? Start looking around?
I was like, dang, 90% of me wanted to take it.
Yeah, I'd say 99% of me at that age.
Wanted to take it. My dad wasn't home. And he said, always, he's like, don't ever steal, don't ever take it. And I felt like I just backed away, couldn't take it and shut the door. Told my dad about it. And he's like, you really didn't take it? I was like, no. And he was like, surprised I didn't take it. He was like, you should have took it.
No.
He should have took it. He's like, we was getting paid, in college. And I was like, now you telling me? But I was more worried about being deemed ineligible because I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know any different.
And there is real risk with that.
There was so much risk back then. For me, there was so much pressure I put on myself to get to college, to get a scholarship, to go to college because, me and my dad had the frank conversation. He's like, if you want me to pay for college, I can't afford to send you to a, Nebraska or whatever. You're going to have to like get in where you fit in. You're going to have to go to like Normandale Community College or something like that. And the local ones like St. Thomas and all them around, Minneapolis are expensive or more expensive than Minnesota. So, you got to think back then, if you probably got jammed up doing that, or if there was rumors, they'd back off on it because there was no way I could defend if I did take it and didn't take it, or if I didn't, so I just eliminated all that. Even as simple as something which isn't a big deal in this day and age because it happens all the time. Not if you're a really good athlete, it doesn't happen, but like say like you get caught like a minor in possession in high school, that was like, you're done. No scholarships. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, really? And one MIP, you're done.
Like done. Or if you get busted at it, just anything. I mean, you got to think, remember when Allen Iverson got in a fight at the bowling alley?
Yeah.
They were deeming him like he needed to go to prison. Or like when Kevin Garnett had the same thing where he had to move from South Carolina to Chicago, all that stuff. So that was a time where any little mistake was a death sentence as far as you get into college. So I was real on the, straight and narrow. So, yeah, that was the different. But then when you think about the like going on the official visits, man, it was definitely not like it is now, which time is different.
Yeah, now you make a stop at the NIL department on the way out.
Yeah, or
like,
somebody does.
Set me up?
Or somebody does, or just the glitz and glamour. I mean, when I came to Nebraska, it was after like a basketball. I think I played a basketball game, and my grandma, I'll never forget this. She had bought me this like red sweater, and it was like, I think it's like cashmere. Is that the stuff that's kind of like fluffy or whatever?
Yeah.
And so I had a winter coat. So I had a white shirt and a tie. I had a white shirt, black tie, red sweater, dressed to go to church.
Yeah, it sounds preppy.
Yeah, and she like bought it specifically. Bought it out of JC Penney catalog. Literally, this was it. And she called me and she's like, "I hear you going to Nebraska. You better wear the outfit." So I had to wear this and get off of there. Look, first of all, I never dressed up, right? Feeling like I'm going to church. And get off there, and everybody else is jeans and a sweatshirt. And I know they're like, "Who's this dork?"
Just got the sweater and tie.
So we got off. They flew me to Lincoln, and when I got off the plane, and Minnesota's cold, right? But it was windy. That hawk, I was like, "Dang," And then so Nebraska was, in the national title hunt or whatever. It was a gloomy day, and then we came in, and then. It was great. They put, we stayed at the that hotel over there by 68th and O Street. It was something else. I think it might have been like a residence in there. I was like, man, this is pretty cool. We got a little fireplace. I think I was balling, hardly ever there. And did the academic things. We didn't stop in. We didn't do any photo shoots. There was none of that.
Yeah, now there's so much of that now.
Yeah,
it's
we did the academic thing. They showed the stadium. I don't even think I even looked. We went into football offices, which was at the north part of the stadium back then.
But you're not putting on the uniforms and any of that. No,
I don't even think we saw. I didn't. I think I don't even know if I saw the locker room.
Yeah, it's way different.
We talked. I met all the coaches, and Dave Gillespie was the recruiting coordinator. And you went down to the training room. And we might have seen the weight room, and obviously that was a big selling point. Obviously, I needed it, to the maximum. And then we hung out with a couple players, went to a couple parties, and then you have your last like, you meet before they send you back home on Sunday. I was tired. Brother was up late. So he did that, and then you go back home. And our biggest thing with my dad was like, we're not going to commit on the spot. And Nebraska didn't put any pressure, to commit. If I wanted, they offered, obviously.
Right. They would have taken you on the spot, but you didn't have to.
They asked me, what are you going to do, or what your process was. Very, I was pleasantly surprised by Nebraska because I didn't know anything about Nebraska, besides what a couple friends told me. Obviously I felt like they were on the, cusp of winning. And I really, they hadn't won a national championship with Coach Osborne, so I didn't expect them to win. They kind of was like, Nebraska was a running joke in our household because we're a Miami Hurricanes household. So every year that, the Miami's playing in the Orange Bowl, we're like, oh, hope we play Nebraska because we'll win. And so but they just looked different that year. And then it was kind of like they were everybody in the nation was backing them. And then obviously they got, hosed against Florida State. So I started to pull for Nebraska even before I committed because I was like, man, this is I want to, I didn't know anything about Coach Osborne. But I wanted him to win just because I felt like, he's been so close and the whole, like with Turner Gill and them, and they, missed the 2-point conversion. If you would have tied, I think they would have probably won it. And, with Miami at that point in time, my dad had found out they're probably going to go on probation, and they were recruiting me hard, but they kind of just were like, they offered me and they thought I was just going to come just because of legacy or whatever. So very lazy type of recruiting. Then I was like, man, it's far away from home. My dad couldn't get there. I just knew there would be
uncertainty too with the penalties that they're going to face.
And it would have been a while, but who knows if I would have got lost in the shuffle. And I felt like, all right, how long will the coach be there? It's kind of like one of those things. Like, it was a great university. I loved it. I had a lot of family and friends down there. I probably would have been well taken care of for sure. Like, as far as having the support system, but sometimes when you build a place up so much, then you get in, felt like the way that the recruitment went, it wasn't that, right? And then so I went back home, and you never believe who hard closed me though.
Oh, the Nebraska stuff?
Yeah. Ron Brown.
The Ron Brown, the one and only.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity to see you multiple times here at the
Yeah, so here's the funny thing about it. So Ron Brown was on the way to see Kenny Cheatham. And I knew about Kenny Cheatham through AAU basketball. And then you just follow guys. Like,
one of the fastest receivers to take it for the team.
Right.
Because that was
he was a like world class at,
he could have been anywhere else, put up crazy numbers.
And he could have played any sport. He could have ran track.
Basketball is really good too.
Yeah. We used to play against each other. And I also played against Marcus Nash as well. And Jonathan Brown, both of them ended up at Tennessee. Then we all played against each other in the Orange Bowl. So I knew. So he called my dad and said, "Hey, I'm coming up," and he must have had an extended layover or whatever. So he probably trying to get a commit. So my dad came home early from work, so he already was on one. I'm talking about on one, and he asked me like, "What do you think?" And I was really, to be honest with you, I was leaning towards Iowa. Right?
You're killing me.
I'm being dead serious because they had put a whole bunch of money in the business program, $6 million in business college. A friend of mine from high school's dad went to Iowa. So he was, I liked him, and he was like, it's great. And
they do take care of their alumni.
Right.
To Iowa.
Right.
They take care of their alumni.
Right. So he's like, look, you'll be set. So I was like, cool. And it's only like 3.5 hours from, wherever it is. And I like the running back coach. His last name was Triplett, I like the defensive back coach. Actually on my recruiting trip was me, Tim Dwight, and Eric Thigpen. He was like, you three. I was looking at tape and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm starting. You know what I'm saying? Like, me and Eric were like, yeah, Eric ended up playing, starting 4 years. But the only thing is Hayden Fry didn't come to my house. So I was like, dude, you ain't even going to a bowl game? Like, you that busy? You ain't going to a bowl game? You can't come up 3.5 hours? This dude playing national championship realistically could win his first one, and he comes up to see me? Because they weren't recruiting anybody else in Minnesota. Now, they probably stopped and saw Monty Kiffin and Lane over there, just because of the past, working relationship, but they weren't recruiting anybody. So Ron Brown comes up, my dad comes home, and I was, you get a sense of your parents, and my dad, I was like, oh, this might not go well, because my dad was like, you need to still go to Miami, right? don't worry about me not seeing your games. I'll be there. And I had an Uncle AJ down there who lives down. He's like, you'll be well taken care of. Trust me. You need to go to Miami. Uncles were calling. You ain't going to my your grandpa is like, he was still healthy at that. He's like, you going to Miami, right? And I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, but it wasn't, serious. So Coach Brown came in, and he'll tell this story. You got to ask him about it. My dad just went in on him.
On Coach Ron Brown?
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Okay.
And he was, my dad, seriously, though, he was like, you need to get the hell up out of here.
Coach Brown?
Oh, yeah. Straight. Coach Brown will tell you. He's like, my son's going to Miami. End of discussion. He's like, you need, because I went to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when my dad went
And he's
in.
trying to get Ron Brown out the door.
That's when my dad was like trying to run him up out of there. But I'm going to tell you about Ron Brown. Ron Brown, what they call it now, he stood on business.
Still is today.
He stood on business. Look at this. Stood on business, right? So then my dad was just testing him, right? He was testing to see could he trust him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my dad was going to do. That's what my dad was doing, right? Because my dad knew in my heart that I really liked Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? Because he could just
Right.
tell. So he tested Ron. So once he passed that test, then Ron Brown was kind of felt like, all right, I can ask you what you're going to do, and then I committed right then. And my dad was like, "Are you sure you wouldn't do it?" I was like, "Yeah, 100%." My dad was like, "I'm happy for you."
What was it that Coach Ron Brown said that it was like, all right, like we can trust Nebraska?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was my dad. First of all, Coach Osborne and Coach Brown and Coach Young, man, Coach Osborne had my dad eating out of the palm of his hands. He knew everything about my dad. You know what I'm saying? And my dad knew a lot about him. And what people don't understand is my oldest uncle, who actually went to Cincinnati, wanted to come to Nebraska and play offensive line. And he's a huge Nebraska fan. But back then, they didn't recruit black offensive linemen. So, like, they had an affinity for Nebraska just on the, but everybody went to Miami. And he didn't go to Miami because back then it was before 1968. Mm. So, yeah, that's how my recruitment went. And so, yeah.
Shout out Coach Brown.
Yeah,
man. He's got a lot of good stories.
He stood on business, though. He stood, look, he to withstand my dad like that, my dad was like, I know you'll be in good hands.
But, especially Coach Brown, too, because knowing him, he probably didn't swear at all either to get the respect.
Yeah, it wasn't it was like, he just wanted to see if Coach Brown was gonna punk out.
Yeah.
And Coach Brown was like, I ain't going nowhere. Let's not talk about Coach Brown. Hey, listen, man. Don't listen. Coach Brown got it in him. My dad brought it out of him. So, anyways, that's good story time. Anyways, Inside the Huddle brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We're gonna take a quick break. Come back. Talk a little NBA free agency, though. What it's like in NFL stuff when we're going into training camp, because I think there's a good correlation of what it's like to be a free agent and what it's like to get ready for camp. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging. We'll be right back.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Vershawn Jackson, the captain here for The Body Shop. And man, did they hook me up with a great massage recently. The captain has a lot of stress in his life, as many people do. And for 1 hour, it was all relieved. The team at The Body Shop gave me a deep tissue massage that hit every area that I was in pain at. Whether you're looking for a Swedish massage, sports massage, deep tissue, hot stone, aroma, or more, there's only one place to go. The Body Shop at 48th NA. Book an appointment today at thebodyshoplincoln.com.
Want to contribute to medical advancements and get paid for your time? Join a clinical trial at Velocity Clinical Research. Participants can receive compensation, access medicines in development, and get study-related care at no cost. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. Help shape the future of medicine. Visit velocitytrials.com.
Ready to upgrade your combine in 2024? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine to fit your operations needs. Choose from 4.75% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver, followed by John Deere financial rates with approved credit through the end of June. When you purchase a pre-owned S or X combine from Landmark, know you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running. View our current inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. When it comes to gift giving, it's all about the wow factor. And let me tell you, nothing wows quite like jewelry. Whether it's a delicate necklace or a statement ring, jewelry makes the right statement. So if you want to knock her socks off, or anything else for that matter, skip the generic gifts and go straight for the bling. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice-integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
Does it seem like your clothes dryer doesn't dry like it used to? It may not be your dryer. It may be your dryer vent. When the vent becomes obstructed, it drastically reduces the efficiency of your dryer. Even worse, it can be a fire hazard. Here's the simple solution. Call Bryant. Bryant will thoroughly clean the vent and show you the before and after results. Call 467-1111. Keep your dryer operating efficiently and your home safe. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Spring often marks the beginning of severe weather, which can lead to power outages. LES wants you to be prepared before the storm. Restock your emergency kit, update your info with LES, and if you encounter an outage, report it at les.com/report.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread's Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread's Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Have a passion for the outdoors? Nebraska Game and Parks is seeking seasonal teammates. Work in scenic state parks, contribute to vital research projects, and care for our natural spaces. Seasonal staff assist with special events, provide customer service to outdoor enthusiasts, and make a difference for conservation. Join the adventure at outdoornebraska.gov. Apply online today.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Inside the Huddle, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging. Here is your host, Jay Foreman.
What up, we're back. Jay Foreman, Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Middle of the 1 hour show here we have on Sundays. Every Sunday, 11 a.m. Some will be pre-recorded. Majority is live. But Harrison, we want to give another shout out to every time I see Coach Brown, though, I start laughing because I always look at her because I be laughing because I'm sitting there like, dang. I've seen some coaches wilt under my dad because my dad knew the game. And I will tell you this, my dad had for him, like when Minnesota wasn't recruiting me or whatever, they had, Kevin Sumlin.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I didn't find it. The funny thing about it is one thing I would tell you about my dad. He never put any pressure on me to live up to, to be. My dad should be a Hall of Famer, right? So, I mean, realistically, he was like, you already got the Foreman last name. I'm not going to put any more. So he shielded me from a lot of stuff. And really, as a young kid, I wanted like the validation and, from everybody else, but I had it all in house. The conversations that we had versus what he'd tell people in public were like night and day. It was like coach speak.
That's good for his dad to do, though.
Right. But at that point, at that point in time, I didn't understand it.
Right.
But he was like, just trust me on this because you'll understand when you get older. Now I am older. And so when somebody would ask me, he'd be like, they're asking him about it and say it would be articles in the paper. He'd be like, oh yeah, he's a good player. He's getting better. He's working hard. He likes, he loves it. And he loves he's playing hard in every sport that he plays in. That would be it.
They want to give you the validation that you made it. Or is it
Well, because he knew once you get out there, then you back then you want, it was understate and over deliver. If you get out there and you put a lot of pressure on him, I mean, you got to think my dad still is, even though Adrian Peterson eventually will be a Hall of Famer, hopefully my dad as well. You ask people in Minnesota, he's the best running back ever for the Vikings. Not even a question. And he should be a Hall of Famer. So if he says, hey, my son's great, he's the best, well, that's even more pressure. Because then you got, and you got to think when I was like, so my dad retired in like 80, 81 or whatever, right? You got to think, I was going through just 10 years later. He isn't too far gone from playing NFL football.
Yeah,
so
still fresh in
right.
people's
And,
mind.
and people, for every one person that wants you to be successful, there's 10,000 that don't. So he kind of was protecting me from it. So, Minnesota, for whatever reason, wasn't recruiting me. Right. And they had a head coach come in from, I think he was at TCU, got the job named Jim Wacker. And he was recruiting a lot of Texas kids. And Minnesota, I'll tell you this, Minnesota it will always be a hockey state. It's in both male and female, and then also big volleyball state and stuff like that, and more baseball. There was guys getting drafted all the time playing baseball, like Phil Nevin and all those guys. Now football is taken off. Like where you go up there and you could there's 5-star recruits up there in basketball now with obviously Chet Holmgren and Suggs and Page at Connecticut. There's tons of players. I mean, heck, they got the number 1 2026 female basketball player playing up in like Cottage Grove somewhere or Woodbury, or you know what I mean? And there was probably more basketball players coming out of Minnesota at that time.
Well, it's just moving up there. Like one of the best Canadian basketball players coming up too is from Canada.
Right.
Skylar Swords. Dave Turcotte was telling us about her. And she's from Canada.
Right. So because they're getting exposed, right? So back then nobody thought like I'm going to go to Minnesota and find football players. Basketball players, Kevin McHale is from there, Dave Winfield and all that, but basketball was probably more prominent on a national level because I mentioned AAU, because you got to think like Khalid Alameen, Akeem Carpenter, Bebop Walker, John Thomas, Sam Jacobson, all those guys. Well, first of all of them were NBA players. John Thomas and Sam Jacobson were lottery picks, right? And then off the bench, we had like Adrian Patterson. I won't tell you where he's at right now. He won't ever see the light of day, unfortunately. And we had another guy named Brian Kellogg. And then I was like the 8th guy. And I was getting offers. You know what I mean? And I got an offer because I was trying to dunk on New York Riverside Church in the semifinals. I just came off and said, I'm gonna do something. Right? Then all of a sudden people start, thinking I could, play. I was decent. And
you had a good
I
highlight though, like caught people's eyes.
I could play. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not, it would have took extreme measures for me to make it to the NBA, but I was a Division I, but so that was what people used to go there for. Cause you got to think Kevin McHale, that's where he came from, right? He's like pretty much Canadian. He up like from Hibbing somewhere.
I don't even know where that's at.
You're right. Nobody knows. He got Thief River Falls and stuff like that up there in the Iron Range. Well, anyways, the only other person that ever left Minnesota to go major was John Alt, who his son just got drafted.
Yeah.
And he went to Notre Dame. And there was a guy named Rod Smith that actually went to Notre Dame as well. Now Marvin Sims came down here and he came from Apple Valley. He was a running back. Only lasted a year or two, and then he transferred to Northern Iowa. So it wasn't a lot of national attention. Well, here comes Jim Wacker, and assumption is not a lot of talent, right? And most guys that are decent, they automatically, going to go to Minnesota or maybe Wisconsin. Had a couple guys go, like Steve Ross going to Colorado or whatever. And, I don't think I ran a good 40 or something like when I was a sophomore or something. I didn't take it serious.
The 40?
No.
It's one of the most overrated things we do anyways. Yeah. But, yeah, go ahead.
I just got back from AAU Nationals, playing 6 games, jumped off the plane and literally ran the 40 in high tops.
And you probably didn't do the training that we send all these guys through.
No, dude, if you saw me coming out of high school, if you saw my freshman picture, you could tell I looked at the weights. They looked real good until I saw everybody else. I'd walk. Coach Brown will tell you this. For the first 3 weeks I was here, I had it down to a system. I'd come in there, make sure they'd see me, and walk around and kind of talk, and I would not lift the weights and be out of there. I told Coach Osborne, like, this is natural. Well, when I saw, like, Troy Dumas and Christian Peter, like, yeah, I got to start getting in the weight room.
So you're just a spectator in the weight room for those first few weeks.
So then I didn't run a good 40 I was only a sophomore. And, be honest with you, I probably, like, didn't run at max. I didn't know anything about my dad. We didn't do any. We didn't football, like, all that stuff was not discussed in our house. It was like, be the best friend to your friends, keep your nose clean, and try to be your best student and everything. He's like, dude, you go out there, because he's like, you go out there and play good football the rest of the half. And I was only a sophomore going into junior year. I think it was, or maybe it was my junior year. But, I was just, slicing everybody. I mean, I was doing my thing on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, anyways, they had a wide receiver coach named Kevin Sumlin at that time. And so there's a place downtown Minneapolis where it's a really, if you ever get up to Minneapolis, you got to go to JD Hoyt's. They have the best menu. I love JD Hoyt's. JD Hoyt's. Now, where it's located is next to like a cabaret, but it's still JD Hoyt's is the place to be. Just okay. Just go to JD Hoyt's. Okay, Harrison. You go to JD Hoyt's. And so my dad would, my dad and his old teammates would be down there, all of them. That's where they go and hang out or whatever, get, dinner.
That's the spot after.
Yeah. Well, I guess Kevin Sumlin was in there tossing them back one time, right? And I guess he came up to my dad, like, and I didn't know this until I became an adult. I think I didn't find this out until I was like well retired from the NFL. Like, me and my dad were watching football. I think Kevin Sumlin was either at Houston or at Texas A&M. And he just starts going off and tells me the story. He said that Kevin Sumlin had been down there, because University of Minnesota is Minneapolis campus. Dinkytown is great. He's like, yo, this blankety blank came up to me one time at JD Hoyt's, and my dad was with like Jim Marshall and Alan Page. They were all kicking it together, hanging out. And it was like, yeah, man, your son's pretty good. Will he walk on at Minnesota? But at this time, Minnesota is like, should be on the death penalty. They're fresh off and not too far gone where Nebraska came up 183-0. That's what I saw. That's what I thought about Minnesota football. Now I knew Ricky Foggy and a couple other guys that, went there. But my dad was like, what? Walk on?
Those beers must have been flowing pretty good.
And Kevin Sumlin was a wide receiver coach, recruiting coordinator. And like I said, I'm finding this out as an adult. I got kids and stuff. My 2 daughters were sitting there, Pap is going off. He, the dump button, if he was on, would be going off. So I guess my dad turned around and said, man, do you know who the hell you talking to? And just went off. And so my dad would never, because I actually wanted to go to Minnesota. Like, just, I didn't know any better.
Right.
Because we were so small-minded, Harrison, that I thought that was the only place that you could go play football. Because I didn't know who John Alt was. I didn't find out about John Alt until like I got out of college. Like, I didn't know who, because I was about to, it was like, because you look and see, okay, where's he from? Minnesota. Like, dang, you went to Notre Dame. And I remember seeing Rod Smith or whatever, he's a corner, and he said he's from, somewhere. I think they probably went to Creighton-Durham Hall, which is a football. There were some other guys. Now, I got to stand correct. There was Steve Walsh, who went to the University of Miami. Now, granted, Creighton-Durham Hall was thought of as different because they were a private school. They give scholarships, so people would come in there and recruit quarterbacks only. So that's a little bit different,
right.
So my dad was like, hey, Papa was going in on Kevin Sumlin. And then he went in again. And he was like, that's why I would never, because once like Michigan State offered, Iowa, then Minnesota was like calling my coach to have a chance. And my high school coach wanted me to think about it. He never thought I would make it in Nebraska. I love him to death, but I know deep down he didn't. He called my dad. My dad was like, listen, don't ever call and ask about them ever again. Because I had wanted to take go down there again. He's like, we ain't going. That's the only time my dad had ever stepped in and said something.
Just because of the disrespect that one.
Yeah.
They're trying to like sneak you in on a walk-on when he knew damn well that you'd be more than that.
Right. And then also, and here's how recruiting is so crazy. The fact that they did it, my dad's only ruled on official visits that you're only going to visit places that are going to offer you a scholarship. It's simple enough.
Yeah, that's a good rule. I don't think there's anything bad with that.
There's a school in the Big Ten that didn't. That said, my dad, that's the only time my dad got on the phone. He can go anywhere he wants to go and visit. But before he gets on that plane, this is the deal, right? I tell us before we go to break. So that's the conversation you had with the coaches. Right? Get there. Go to his house. Hey, man, it was nice. We're kicking it. And I knew one of the dudes on the team. His name was Jason Suttle. We actually ended up playing in Houston together, and he played at Denver for a while. They asked me to walk on. My dad always, he's like, because this is when you got pay phones. He's like, always keep $2 and quarters with you. So that's what he always sent me.
Yeah, for a pay phone if you need it.
So I called him. He was like, get you a cab. Because I had money, enough. Head to the airport.
You just left on the spot as soon as they gave you the walk on?
Well, I got back to the dorm. And when I tell you, I know the coach had to hang up. Like, when I tell you my dad was talking to this man, like he was talking to him like he was like Tony Soprano, like into the phone. You know what I mean, Harrison? Yeah. He's talking into the phone. He's this, and this, right? I know the dude had to, because at that point you got to hang up.
Yeah.
Right? That's the only time. But Kevin Sumlin, did that. My dad was like, but this is years later. My dad still be going off on him.
All right, don't mess with Foreman's dad. No, that
my dad really like
watching out for you. That's what you get.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but like I said, I appreciate everything he did, and it was definitely a different time of recruit. I can tell you this: if we went on a visit, which is different. I mean, I don't think my dad would have. You remember the dad that dressed up in the Florida uniform last year? I don't think my dad would ever do that. I don't think he'd ever do that. But he would have definitely came in and probably been my agent or something. He probably would have made.
But a tough agent to work through.
Oh, I know. Yeah, because he gonna be on it. Anyways, we're gonna dive into playoff time. I'll let Harrison slide because I've been saying that Michael Jordan played against plumbers and painters. But I'll let
outrageous comment.
Jeff Hornacek and John Stockton were plumbers, and one was a painter. Anyway,
one's an all-time assist leader, and it's not even close when you look at second.
I know, but still.
So anyway, that was
we're going to take a break, come back. Inside the Huddle, Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. We'll be right back.
Ironhide Construction is a Nebraska-based general contracting and steel construction firm. Their expert team is experienced in building innovative construction solutions across several industries. While they were previously known for their extensive experience in steel erection and metal buildings, they've continued to evolve over the last several years into a full-service general contracting firm. They take pride in their commitment to quality, cutting-edge technology, and having a passion for what they do. For more information about their services or to discuss an upcoming project, visit www.ironhideconstruction.com or call 402-420-4961.
Looking for a financial partner that truly makes a difference? Modern Woodman is a member-owned fraternal financial services organization. We can help you plan for all stages of life, from protection to saving to retirement. We also offer member benefits, social activities, and volunteer opportunities to help your family and community.
I'm Sean Erickson, your Modern Woodman representative in Lincoln. Call me at 402-483-6515 to start the conversation.
Modern Woodman of America, touching lives, securing futures.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Several irrigation contractors in Lincoln go out of business every year, leaving sprinkler system orphans begging for service. The folks at Judson Irrigation shed a tear for these little fellas. They've been coddling these orphans for more than 40 years. From redesign, repairing, replacing, and restoring, remember the Judson Irrigation Orphanage.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today. Do you need your event or venue secured? Call Tank Security Team. Tank Security Team is Lincoln's #1 non-lethal security company. Tank Security Team offers first-class security with efficient and quicker response times. Hire Tank Security Team. No hassle, no headaches. Call Tank at 402-310-3589 and get secured today.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
Tune in every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. for the Malone Radio Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Don't miss the opportunity to learn about the Malone Community Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln and the surrounding area. It's the Malone Radio Show with Executive Director John Goodwin and Sports Director Mike Hunter every Wednesday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Does it seem like your clothes dryer doesn't dry like it used to? It may not be your dryer. It may be your dryer vent. When the vent becomes obstructed, it drastically reduces the efficiency of your dryer. Even worse, it can be a fire hazard. Here's the simple solution. Call Bryant. Bryant will thoroughly clean the vent and show you the before and after results. Call 467-1111. Keep your dryer operating efficiently and your home safe. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
The Mill Coffee and Tea, formerly with only 4 Lincoln locations, now 5 Lincoln locations. That's 25% more locations than there used to be. Can you even imagine a world where there's only 4 Lincoln Mill locations? Feels like ages ago. We were all so young then. The Mill on 11, located right alongside the 93.7 The Ticket Studios at 1040 O Street.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Florida State beat North Carolina in the first game 7-5 or 9-5.
Was there a war chant?
I think there was.
There has to. There had to.
Give that to us. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Good.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Inside the Huddle with Jay Foreman, sponsored by Advanced Medical Imaging.
Anyways, we're back inside the Huddle. Jay Foreman, brought to you by Advanced Medical Imaging, 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. I will tell you, if you ever want to find me, Harrison, you can find me over there. But I will tell you the great thing about Advanced Medical Imaging is they work with there's an ankle surgeon up in Vail, Colorado, help me with the game plan. So your boy's going to have to go up there.
They got good staff. I'll tell you
They do.
what.
They're great.
Advanced will set you up to if you don't need some extra work.
Yeah, Dr. Raz and Dr. Fenn do a really good job. Dr. Raz is really great. I'm going to go see him one more time before I head up there. But anyways, it's definitely Inside the Huddle today, man, with the
you got a lot of warm
hey man, I'm telling you, man, my man Kevin Sumler, man. I mean, there's only 2 or 3 moments where I seen my dad get it hyped, and it was talking about Kevin Sumlin. I witnessed in live person with the phone call, and then you want to know the other time is
discussing Coach Brown.
Oh yeah, but I wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
Who
knows how many you weren't there for?
Yeah, exactly. My dad, he didn't tune too many people up, and it was. I think with Coach Brown was more in good nature. The other 2 was, you getting the Washington D.C. out of him. And is another time. Here's what we were just talking about him during the break. It was when me and my dad were watching. And you hear about LeBron James, right? And Troy Evans, who played at Cincinnati, was telling me about LeBron. I was like, dude, there's no way he's better. There's nobody ever going to be as good as Jordan. He's like, Jay, I saw him play. He's like, this dude is going to be as good as Jordan, right? LeBron's in the McDonald's All-American game, and they had the dunk contest.
Yeah.
And he did that dunk, right? And I'll never forget, we were downstairs at my old place in Minneapolis in the fireplace, and he jumped up, and I cannot repeat what he said. And it was the funniest thing because I was like half asleep. And my dad, he was like, man, I ain't never seen anybody do this like this since Jordan. So that's the story time Inside the Huddle. It's always great to do that stuff. We're going to have my dad on there, but we're going to have to get him on a podcast, though. I don't think DP would like.
That or a streaming only day. Maybe when the Royals are on. I don't got to.
You know what? When we get that, we'll get my dad on a stream only day, and he has some really good stories. He got Joe Paterno stories. If you think my dad was bad, we used to call him Poppy. His dad was a straight up gangster. The way he did Joe Paterno. Anyways, man, I always appreciate it on Sunday. Appreciate the support. Appreciate Advanced Medical Imaging. Jay Foreman. We'll holler at you next week.